Things might be about to heat up for the Philadelphia Eagles, as not only do they have some huge decisions to make very soon, but they also have been getting some wild trade rumors in recent days regarding several key players, including an update on the Dallas Goedert situation and another unexpected trade proposal following some big NFL news. So in this video, I'll break down all the most recent Eagles trade rumors, including the ones that have for whatever reason linked TJ Watt to Philly, plus I'll go through every other big decision that the Birds are going to have to make over the next several months outside of the draft. So we're going to get into all that starting right now. Despite the moves being less exciting than they have been in years past, the Eagles have still been very hard at work this offseason, as Howie Roseman and the Birds' long-term master plans are well underway, and although the beginnings of it have been painful, I think Eagles fans are going to come to realize exactly why the Eagles are doing what they've been doing these past several months, because if everything goes how they're hoping it will, then Philly's going to be in contention to win multiple more Super Bowls over the next few years. Now, obviously, they got a lot more to do and a long way to go before you can even think about that, but again, everything they're doing right now, roster-wise, is to try and keep this Super Bowl window open for as long as possible. And phase one of that plan, of course, kind of went into action during free agency with what exactly transpired, and I honestly think the whole thing was explained perfectly in the Eagles' latest episode of Unscripted.
You know, the thing is we have a lot of good players, and so we had to make a lot of tough decisions here because we have a lot of guys who have earned their payday. But for me, I knew what was coming. I knew that we had planned this. Yeah, different offseason in terms of we're not going out and signing a guy for $15 million a year or some huge amount of money because of the players that we have on the team already. We have 8 guys who make $15 million or more and have earned that payday. We have 8 starters from our 2022-2024 draft who played in the Super Bowl. We think that we have a bunch more from those drafts. And so we had to make choices that were going to affect us going forward. And we went into free agency trying to find guys that were looking for an opportunity to kind of come here, play well, and then see what free agency holds from them a year from now. And so those are one-year deals. Those are guys that we thought fit what we were looking for those particular positions. Those are guys that we did a lot of work on coming out in the draft that we feel like fit the vision of our football team and the positions that they're playing.
Yeah, so again, everything the Eagles are doing right now is to keep this Super Bowl window open for as long as possible. And right now, that means saving money where you can and making some of these tough decisions to move on from certain players, while also bringing in cheaper, lower risk, high reward guys as stopgaps. And then, most importantly, the Eagles have been identifying core pieces and locking those guys up for the long term. So that's exactly what they've done so far this offseason. Not to mention that the NFL draft is obviously just about a week away, where the Birds will obviously bring in a bunch more exciting players to fill out the roster. But that aside, the crazy part is, the draft isn't all the Eagles have to worry about moving forward in the offseason. I mean, if you take a step back and just look at it, the Eagles still have a ton of big decisions that they have yet to make this offseason regarding some of the guys that they already have on their roster, and perhaps the biggest one of all is what to do with tight end Dallas Goedert. And obviously, yes, we've talked a ton here on this channel about that, probably too much at this point, but the fact of the matter is, the Goedert trade rumors are very real. I mean, on one hand, the Birds are trying to clear up as much money as possible, so dumping Goedert could make sense considering his age, injury history, and most importantly, his contract situation. That said, Goedert is still obviously one of the best tight ends in football, and Philly currently doesn't have a legit replacement on their roster. So again, the Birds definitely have a very tough decision to make here, and ESPN reporter Tim McManus actually recently provided us an update on the whole thing, saying, quote, "Outside of him taking a pay cut, it's hard to envision Goedert returning to Philly in 2025. So there you go. It certainly seems like Goedert is trending towards not being back in Philly next season simply because of money reasons. And if the Birds did decide to trade Goedert, the Colts are the most recent rumored trade destination, with Mo Moton of Bleacher Report recently proposing a trade that would send Goedert to Indy for just a 2025 6th-round pick, as he cited Colts head coach Shane Steichen's link to Goedert, while also saying that he would be a great reliable target for Anthony Richardson. Now, personally, I'm still really hoping that the Eagles and Goedert can somehow come to an agreement to just keep him in Philly for one more year, because even if it is a pay cut, I think that that would be the most beneficial thing for both sides. Now, real quick, I would appreciate if you guys took a minute to subscribe to this channel and like the video. I mean, we are so close to 50,000 subscribers, and the analytics say that 64% of you watching this video right now are not subscribed. So go do that, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any more videos. Trust me, you guys aren't going to want to miss anything. Plus, let's see if we can hit 500 likes on this video, and also leave a comment down below. Like, just say what's up. It really does help me out a ton, and I also love hearing from you guys. But now, all that said, it's not just Goedert that the Eagles have a big decision to make on. I mean, another guy that's been the subject of trade rumors this offseason has been edge rusher Bryce Huff, as of course, a horrible, injury-riddled 2024 campaign coupled with a massive contract hasn't exactly made Huff a fan favorite in Philadelphia, and if possible, Howie Roseman and the Birds would be wise to get off that contract as soon as possible, even if they do have to eat a significant dead cap hit this offseason to do it. Now, multiple teams have been rumored as possible destinations this offseason, including the Lions, Falcons, and 49ers, but that's all it's been, rumors, and no actual reports have come out since the one from Jordan Schultz around a month ago, saying that the Eagles would be open to trading Huff or Goedert. So we'll see what happens as far as a potential Bryce Huff trade goes and whether anything happens on that front or not. And then moving on, there's also plenty of other decisions that the Birds still need to make this offseason, mainly regarding who to sign to long-term contract extensions. As of course, like I've talked about many times already, the Eagles have several players who are currently up for extension, with probably the most important one of those being center Cam Jurgens, who of course has proven to be the perfect replacement for Jason Kelce in just 1 year in as the starting center, as he made the Pro Bowl in his first year and quickly became one of the best centers in the NFL, while capping off his awesome year one with a great performance in the Super Bowl, all while playing through nerve back pain. So the guy is clearly a warrior, and he's just the exact kind of center that the Eagles need for what they like to do in the run game. So, I know it's tough to keep everybody, and some people in my comments have even suggested that the Eagles should move on from Cam, but I think for around $13 to $16 million a season, it'd be totally worth it to give Cam Jurgens a contract extension if it does fit into the Birds' plans. And then moving on, as I've also talked about before, you got somebody like safety Reed Blankenship, who was immediately brought up as an extension candidate following the CJ Gardner-Johnson trade by multiple sources. And, I won't go too in-depth here because I did just talk about a possible Reed extension in a pretty recent video, but basically, my opinion on Blankenship is that he's one of the most underrated players on the Eagles team. He's a good tackler, he's been good in coverage, he's a ball hawk, and he's now the leader in that secondary. Plus, he's still just 26 years old. So I think, again, if they're able to work it into their plans and the price ends up being right, then a Reed Blankenship extension makes a ton of sense for the Philadelphia Eagles. And then going even further, the Birds also have a big decision to make coming up on Jordan Davis, as the monster in the middle of Philly's D-line is set to enter the last year of his contract, and there's a number of things that the Birds could do. I mean, for starters, they could just let him play out his current contract and let him hit free agency next offseason, or they could also extend him to a multi-year deal and keep him in Philly for the long term, or since he was their first-round pick in 2022, the Eagles also could, of course, pick up his $12.9 million fifth-year option and extend his contract by 1 more year. Now, to me, I think JD's honestly one of the harder nuts to crack in terms of figuring out what direction the Eagles will take this offseason, because on one hand, I think he actually did a really good job in his role this past season, and I feel like what he actually does for this Eagles defense goes pretty underappreciated. That said, is he worth $12.9 million for a season? Probably not, and he also probably ranks pretty low in terms of the guys the Eagles want to extend. So, I don't know. JD's long-term future in Philly is definitely in question. Personally, I think the draft is going to tell us a lot about what the Eagles plan to do with Davis, because if they pick a defensive tackle high, then that makes JD even more expendable. And now, real quick, one more guy that I do want to touch on is linebacker Nakobe Dean, as he is eligible for an extension this offseason as well. However, due to the fact that Dean only had one high-level season, the Birds also just paid a linebacker big money in Zach Bond, and also the fact that Dean just suffered a serious injury and likely is going to be out for the first part of next season, I'd say it's pretty unlikely that Dean gets a contract extension this offseason. That said, we'll see how it all plays out, and that goes for all the other big decisions that the Birds have to make this offseason as well. And that's not even all of it, because there's also been a lot of buzz recently that the Eagles could possibly be looking to make another trade, this one involving the quarterback position. And this comes just after the Saints got some really big, pretty unfortunate news, being that their presumed starting quarterback Derek Carr is unexpectedly dealing with a pretty serious shoulder injury that has put his status for next season in question. So obviously that leaves New Orleans in a bit of a hard situation and in desperate need of a quarterback, and some people have suggested that the Eagles could have a solution to their problem. as multiple sources have proposed a trade that would send Eagles QB2 Tanner McKee to the Saints in exchange for draft compensation. And this comes, of course, after New Orleans head coach Kellen Moore had coached McKee for a year in Philly and had success with him, and also after the Eagles had reported interest in trading for now Cowboys backup quarterback Joe Milton. Now, personally, I love Tanner McKee. I mean, we all saw how good he looked in those games at the end of the season against the Cowboys and against the Giants, so I think he's a great backup for Philly to have, and I honestly don't really want him to go anywhere. That said, with the Birds reportedly having been interested in trading for another backup, that definitely does bring up questions about whether the Eagles would be open to trading McKee or not. And if they were, then the Saints would make a ton of sense given this recent news on Derek Carr. So, we'll see if anything materializes on that front. Now, as for the other recent big Eagles trade rumor that's been going around recently, this one's a bit more wild to say the least, as following a cryptic social media post during contract negotiations with the Steelers, there's been some trade speculation regarding former NFL Defensive Player of the Year TJ Watt, and the Eagles have been a team that's linked to him as they have some of the highest odds to land him in a trade according to most sportsbooks, while some sources have said that the Eagles could be interested in trading for the Steelers star. But hold on, pump the brakes, because just like that ridiculous Tyreek Hill to the Eagles trade rumor last week, the TJ Watt Eagles trade rumors are complete BS. I mean, one, there's no actual reports from inside sources that have linked Watt to the Eagles, as it's just been rumors so far. Two, the Steelers are still unlikely to trade Watt at this current time. And three, the Eagles simply couldn't afford it anyway. I mean, like I said, right now they're trying to just clear up as much money as possible so that they can pay their own guys. So I'm sure trading for a guy who, sure, is a bona fide superstar, but is also 30 years old and is also going to cost an insane amount of money on a new extension, and also is already being paid a lot to begin with, definitely doesn't fit into their plans. So, I mean, just like Myles Garrett or Trey Hendrickson or Tyreek Hill, it's just not going to happen, guys. Besides, we already got a bunch of superstars on this team making big money, so it's hard to find room for any more. Not to mention that those guys are also fantastic leaders who make a big impact that way as well. I mean, look no further than A.J. Brown, whose impact is obviously huge on and off the field. Speaking of which, A.J. actually just spoke to students at an event at Miami University, and one of the messages that he delivered was so inspiring.
When I get this, I'm gonna be satisfied. When I get this, I'm gonna be set. But that's not the case, because when you do get that, will you be satisfied? Will you be fulfilled? And I can guarantee you, if you're chasing money, if you all are chasing money in this room, I would tell you all to stop. Chase your purpose. Chase a better version of yourself. Because I say this, if you get that money, you get what you want. Only thing that comes out is your bigger flaws. The real you shows up. I see it time and time again in NFL, and I'm not perfect. I make mistakes, but I see it so many times. Your vices shows up loud and bright when you have that money, because you're so fulfilling. You're trying so hard to get that money. But if you chase your purpose, you chase a better version of you, the money will chase you, guys. The opportunities will chase you. No, you won't have to beg for an opportunity. The opportunity will be begging to have you.
Yeah, I mean, again, A.J. Brown clearly is a great leader with a great mentality. And he said a lot more at that event as well, including talking about mental health and also encouraging students to find God and read the gospel. So I don't know about you guys, but to me, that means a lot and is super inspiring. So, shout out to AJ, but all that said, you guys know that I'm going to be continuing to cover the Eagles and all the news and rumors that come out throughout this entire offseason. So if you don't want to miss any of that, then make sure you guys subscribe and turn on notifications. That way you're notified instantly when I upload a video or go live. Again, you guys are not going to want to miss any of it. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and also drop a like on this video to show some support, because it really does help me out a ton. Let's try and get to 500 likes on this video, and also leave a comment down below. Again, I love hearing from you guys, and it also really does help me out a ton. So go do that, and also if you want to watch another Eagles video, you can check this one out right here. And now with all that being said, that's pretty much all I got for this one, guys. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.